everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Today I'm going to be ranking all the songs in The Sound of Music from my least favourite to my favourite. Sort of. I have wanted to make this video since very close to when I started my channel, and it's been requested, so I figured why not just go ahead and make it. Especially since last week I watched Sound of Music for the first time since January. Which is the first time I have gone that long without watching it in years. Click the card. Now, if you've watched my other videos, I have mentioned it plenty of times that I am very bad at ranking stuff. But bizarrely enough, that isn't quite the case with Sound of Music. Sort of. I can clearly tell you what my favourite song is and what my least favourite song is. And I can definitely tell you I like this particular song better than this other song, but I can't tell you which one of those two I like better than this third song, for example. But I can put them into tiers. So I can tell you I like these songs more than I like these songs, and those ones more than I like these. So that's how we're going to be doing it. Now, obviously, I love all these songs. And this list also includes the musical-only songs, so An Ordinary Couple and No Way to Stop It and How Can Love Survive will also be on this list. And so my least favourite song would be An Ordinary Couple. This was the original love song between Maria and Georg that was in the original Broadway production. But, of course, it was swapped out for Something Good in the film. And because the film is as big as it is, Something Good has been in pretty much every other version. So you definitely don't hear this one a lot. And I think that's partly the reason I don't like it as much as any of the others, because it's appeared so rarely since 1965. There are very, very few versions, for lack of a better word, of it. It's really hard to find a recording of it that isn't the OBC with Mary Martin. And that, I think, is part of the reason it's my least favourite. Because I really don't like Mary Martin's voice. Now, her voice isn't bad, she was a very good singer, but for some reason that I can't even really describe, the sort of voice she has doesn't really do much for me. And it's so hard to find any other recording of it that, as far as that song goes, it's not just that song, it's that specific recording of the song. There are plenty of other recordings of all the other songs there, so I can look at them more objectively as a song. Because it's so hard to find this one anywhere else, I'm limited to that specific recording, and because of Mary's voice, it just doesn't do all that much for me. That being said, I do still really enjoy it, and I do really like what the song's talking about. About how, despite everything, Maria and Georg are just two people. That's really all they are when you get down to the bare bones of it. They're just two people and they're going to be happy with their life together as it is, and everything else doesn't matter. So for the bottom tier I have 16 Going on 17, Do Re Mi Reprise, My Favourite Things Reprise, the Dixit Dominus Alleluia song that the nuns sing at the beginning. That's actually two songs, but I'm combining it just for this. As well as Climb Every Mountain and its reprise. And we're going to start with this one because I can definitely say it is the highest in this bottom tier. It's still in the bottom tier, but it's the highest. My favourite in the bottom tier. I don't know why, but Climb Every Mountain didn't really ever do much for me. Like An Ordinary Couple, I do really like what the song's about and what it means for the story, and it is objectively a very good song. It doesn't do for me what a lot of the other songs do. As for the Do Re Mi Reprise and the My Favourite Things Reprise, they just don't even hold a candle to the full versions of those songs. I don't know why, but the way they sing the I Drink With Jam and Bread over and over and over and over again in the Do Re Mi Reprise just leaves me a little meh. And the My Favourite Things, they're just swarming her, and that's actually on the recording. So them screaming about how she's back is on the recording, and that's a little jarring. In the movie it's great, but when you're just listening to it, it's a little... yeah. And I do believe it wasn't recorded originally. And so when they finally released it for the 40th anniversary CD, they took it straight from the film. Nuns ones at the beginning for the Dixit Dominus and Alleluia, they're not like the other songs in the show, they're just sort of a world building thing, if that makes sense. A bit of a setup. So it's almost hard to think of them the same way. But now that I've gotten those out of the way, let's talk about what is undoubtedly the most controversial song in the bottom tier for me, and that is 16 Going on 17. I never wanted to be Liesl. When I watched the film when I was little, I had eyes only for Maria. Outside of a 2-week-ish window on either side of my 16th birthday, I didn't want to be Liesl. 16 Going on 17 is the B romance plot, and over the years the romance between Maria and Georg has been much more important to me than it used to be. And we all know Rolf's a jerk in the end. So mostly when I'm watching that scene I'm going, cute, can we get back to Maria now? Whenever I watch the film it goes by so quickly. I always think, oh my god, we're up to this bit now? Really? We're here? Oh my god, it's almost over. It felt like I was putting it on 2 minutes ago. But with 16 Going on 17, it drags. And by drags, I really mean the scene feels like it's taking place at 16 speed rather than 32 speed. But that is definitely one of the scenes I don't love nearly as much as the others in the film, and consequently I don't love the song as much. So now we're up to the middle tier, and honestly this one features all the really big well-known ones, strangely enough. So this one features Do Re Mi, My Favourite Things, Lonely Goatherd, Edelweiss, and its reprise, I Have Confidence, along with Something Good and the reprise of So Long Farewell. Do Re Mi and My Favourite Things and The Lonely Goatherd for me feel very generic, honestly. They're all very bouncy and fun and light-hearted, and that is wonderful, but because of that I don't always get the feels from them. I Have Confidence almost straddles the line between middle tier and bottom tier. It's crazy and it's bizarre and it definitely adds a lot to the story, but at the same time it's not completely necessary because it was written for the film. So while it does tell us more about Maria and how nervous she is about going to the villa, that is also information that we could lose and we would understand everything the same way. Because it wasn't in the original production and it doesn't work on stage. It only works in the film. As for Something Good, this is obviously the new and much more popular love song, and the gazebo scene is my favourite scene in the entire film. So I think that has more to do with where it ranks than anything else. Because even if it is the much more common love song, it's usually not regarded as one of the absolute best songs in the film or the show. Now, once again, the middle tier has what is probably a controversial one, and that is Edelweiss. And it's kind of like Climb Every Mountain for me. It is a very good song and I really, really like it, but I know I definitely don't like it as much as everybody else seems to. And that's really all I can say about that one. I know it's the favourite for a lot of people. And like all the other ones, I love what it says and what it means to the story, but I don't love it nearly as much as everybody else does. And so, now we're up to the top tier, and we're going to start with my absolute favourite song in the entire show. So, my absolute favourite song is the title one of The Sound of Music. I just think it's so beautiful, and it's so simple, but at the same time it tells us everything we need to know about Maria. And because it's right at the beginning of the film, I always feel nice and fuzzy when it comes on. And so the rest in the top tier are Maria and its reprise, So Long Farewell, No Way to Stop It, How Can Love Survive. And the 16 Going on 17 reprise, How Can Love Survive and No Way to Stop It are obviously the musical only ones, and I absolutely love them. I love Elsa and Max. I know the Baroness isn't all that popular, Heck, when you go to the sing-along, you're supposed to hiss whenever she's on screen. I didn't do that. I couldn't dream of doing that to Elsa because I love her so much. The reason these songs were cut when they made the film were, one, to tone down the political aspect, and to separate Max and Elsa from the rest of the family by having them not sing. But specifically in the musical, Max and Elsa are awesome together. And these songs show exactly that. And No Way to Stop It, I think, is actually really, really catchy. I think one of the reasons I love it so much is the beat. For a long time, I considered So Long Farewell my favourite, though I can't exactly tell you why I thought that. But simply because I considered it my favourite for quite a while, that's why it's in the top tier. But my favourite when I was younger was definitely Maria. Or specifically, Maria Reprise. So, The Wedding. As I said, I never wanted to be Liesl, I wanted to be Maria. In fact, here's a picture of me dressed up as Maria the Bride when I was, I don't know, 3? When I was little, The Wedding was my favourite moment in the film. I turned up at one of my physio sessions dressed as Maria, and my physio had to change the entire plan because Maria didn't climb on boxes or step through ladders or whatever I was supposed to do. Thinking back with my fanfiction brain now, I could absolutely see her doing those things. But when I was 3 and obsessed with The Wedding, she didn't. So Maria and The Reprise will always hold a very, very special place in my heart. Even though it's not my absolute favourite now, it will always be my favourite in a way that none of the others ever will be. And the last song to talk about is the 16 Going on 17 reprise. As we've established earlier, 16 Going on 17 is in the bottom tier for me, but I love the reprise so much, especially the bit that was cut from even the film, the musical only intro part of it. That's actually my favourite part of the song. Rolf's a jerk, and so when we're seeing him it's kind of and dragging. And then when he's dumped Liesl and we're talking about how everything's going to get better, it's kind of therapeutic. And that is my ranking, or the best I could do for ranking all the songs in The Sound of Music. And that's everything I've got for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments, of course, what's your favourite Sound of Music song? Do you have any favourites like me that could be considered unusual? Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!